some numbers on Scotia now that'll put it in a little bit of context. There's the date, the earnings per share to expect. They're expected to be essentially flat. The focus is oil and gas loans. About 3.6% of all Scotia loans outstanding are to this sector. That's a touch higher, but only a touch higher than some of the others. We saw the last time Scotia reported gross impaired loans of $336 million. Again, that's similar to what Royal had in its fiscal first quarter, and at Royal, that number tripled in the second quarter. So the question is, do we see a multiple of those gross impaired loans at Bank of Nova Scotia?
And when we looked at the banks came out with relatively strong profit versus expectations over the course of this week. Bank of Nova Scotia has a very distinct business model because of their international operations. What might they have going for them that offsets the weakness from the energy?
Well, they have a strong domestic franchise as well. All the banks really do. The one thing to watch will be, do we see weakness in consumer lending? We did see that at CIBC, some expansion of the oil and gas weakness into the consumer lending. The big outlier for Scotia, of course, is the international segment. It can be difficult to predict. It could be, if they do well in areas like Latin America, it could offset some of that weakness. But I think it's fair to say, John, the focus is, coming into these numbers, how bad is it on the oil and gas book?
All right, well, watch for those numbers next week. Paul, thank you very much, and have a great weekend. There's a look at some of the expectations for that energy portfolio. We're getting ready for the opening bells. Let's take a look at what the expectations are for some of the bell ringing ceremonies today at the NASDAQ. Okay, there you go. AstroNova is at the NASDAQ today. They're doing a rebranding. Credivity Holdings is at the New York Stock Exchange. All right, TSX starts this trading day above 14,000. Let's get ready for the first 15.
The First 15 is brought to you by Horizons ETFs. Active management, indexing, tactical. Horizons ETFs. ETF solutions for every investor.
Okay, let's get you caught up on what this trading day is looking like. Heading into a holiday weekend in the United States, you've got the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ pretty flat. We highlighted earlier that you had some the latest read on the U.S. economy with the revised GDP data showing some growth in the economy, but not all that robust. So now the market's focus will be on what we hear from the Fed Chair Janet Yellen later today. Andrew McCreath saying earlier in this show